Talk Ag to Me, a podcast dedicated to improving ag literacy around the globe. I'm your host, Brendan Black, and today with me I have my co-host, Abigail Prinz.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Abby Prinz, and today's episode, we're just going to be hanging out and talking to you guys about State FFA Conference. And this year it was very new. We got to move from Fresno, which has been there for years and years on end.
Yeah.
And so now it's in Anaheim, and so that was definitely a really big eye-opener and a great experience to go attend.
It was a very unique experience because we're used to, we're in the middle of the city in Fresno, but Fresno's still an agricultural area, whereas Anaheim, it's like Hollywood
strictly
over there.
city,
You walk in there and people look at your blue jacket and they're like, they're so confused as to what future.
They're baffled
America
that
is.
all these kids are matching.
Right. So it was really kind of a new experience for all the kids there, including the teachers. A lot of the teachers were not to say lost, but they were still trying to figure out the map as much as we were.
No, they were still kind of lost.
Yeah, a little bit. I think that was both a scary and exciting experience, just because it kind of gave us a new look at state convention, a convention that we've been going for 4 years now, and it was.
We're getting old.
Yeah, don't remind me. I just turned 18 5 days ago.
I know.
So anyway, yeah. So as Abby said, this new conference, it was kind of just like an eye-opening experience, and besides just seeing the new area, Abby and I had the unique opportunity of being state delegates, which both of us have been state delegates once before, but in this new area and with these new experiences, it was really kind of a cool thing for us to get to try together.
Yeah, so the very first day that we got to state conference, as delegates, there's 2 delegates from every FFA chapter in California that get to attend, and as delegates, we each got to go into separate committees, and we got to talk about our committee, how we want to improve the California FFA Association. I was on the delegate structure, so we were trying to manipulate the delegate structure to see if we can make it any better than it already is, and we did find a few suggestions that were going to be very helpful for those members in the future becoming delegates. And Brendan, you were on the Ag Literacy Committee, right?
I was on the Ag Literacy Committee. How fitting is that? And it was actually kind of funny. During one of our, I guess you can call it conferences, during one of the meetings that we were voting on and that we were discussing and having a debate on, I actually brought up the fact that we have this podcast here that's used to promote ag literacy, because the main topic we were supposed to be discussing was how can chapters integrate more ag literacy based activities into their chapter and getting more members involved in that kind of thing. And I said, well, one of the examples that we use here, which may not be a chapter activity, it's something that I kind of started with you two, with you and Evan.
But we incorporate chapter members, which is really the overall goal.
Right. And when I mentioned the fact that I started a podcast, they kind of all looked at me, they're like, really? You have your own podcast?
You're a high schooler, you have a podcast?
Yeah, so it was kind of a cool experience to get to do that and just kind of talk to the kids about what we do here and what it's about and why it's important. So after we kind of got through these committees, we got to do a few other things as delegates. We got to go to our regional meeting, and we got to talk to the various members of our San Juan County region about the different committees, what conclusions we came to, what kind of agreements that we decided on, which was really cool for FFA nerds like us. We get to make decisions that change the constitution of the California FFA Association, which I think is a pretty exciting thing to do.
Yeah, that was definitely really different. And I was a sophomore the first time. I was a delegate. Brendan, you were a junior. Now we both got to do it together as seniors. And through this regional meeting, we also got to hear from everyone else's committee reports.
Right.
So, like, I was in the delegate structure. You had ag literacy. There was also
There's a lot of different ones.
Different, like, especially award interviews. Those were really interesting to hear about.
There was, last year when I was a delegate, one of the things that we voted on was allowing 7th and 8th grade members to join FFA as part of the Discovery FFA program.
That was a huge deal, and it still is a really big deal.
It's been debated over for I don't know how many years. It finally got passed last year. I was for the idea of having FFA members of all ages, and just because I like to promote the idea of agricultural literacy, as you guys know, and I'm all for the idea of getting new involvement in the FFA organization. So these committees that were on the 7th and 8th grade member involvement kind of just set the guidelines or the boundaries for what these students can participate in as far as CDs and LDs, judging teams, committees, what they have the ability to see and compete in. And there's really not a lot, but that's really just because we want them to get the experience before they have to get into the work involved in it.
Well, and just a little bit of terminology for you guys. A CDE is a career development event. So we participate on judging teams. Just one experience that I've had over the past couple years is judging dairy cattle, and so that develops my career as a dairy geneticist, as I get to look at dairy cattle, and then later on when I go into the genetic field, I can see how I want to manipulate the cattle genes. And so these different judging teams that we participate in really prepare us, like, career readiness. So that's really been helpful. LDEs are basically the same thing.
They're leadership development events, though.
Leadership development events, and so you learn about public speaking skills, team building skills, such as parliamentary procedure and how laws and bills and that kind of stuff get passed within the chapter segment. So
right.
Very basic materials and basically
just basic skills that we. I don't know what you're trying to look for, but while she tries to think of that, basically, yeah, these committees, they should allow. They debated over whether or not the 7th and 8th graders should be allowed to compete on these teams, and their reasons, I'm sure, were very in depth and detailed. And I didn't participate in this conversation just because I was not on that committee. But those are the different types of things that we saw during our delegate experience. So after we got out of our first day of delegating, we got to go to our first session, which was really exciting.
And it was really exciting because when we first sat down in the arena, the state officers came out and they presented the first few different acts of state talent. So different members across the state that express whatever their talent is, whether it be singing, dancing,
there was a roper, or
acrobatics, gymnastics, anything you can think of as being a talent, it was out there on the stage.
Man, it was awesome.
And so just seeing that experience of the state officers introducing all these different acts and watching these people that are also FFA members and interested and passionate about the agriculture industry coming out and expressing those types of talents was really different.
It was really cool. So that was kind of our first session. We kind of got introduced to the new area and we even got to see the newly elected national officers, one of which being Bree Holberg, our old state secretary, which was really cool because we actually got to see her elected firsthand back in National Commission. That was really exciting and a really cool experience because she's the first African American woman to be a national FFA president.
Yeah, that was definitely huge, especially for this time now, being in that type of representation, that high of an authority. So that was really cool to watch her speak and give her little speech and spiel about, like, you can do whatever you put your mind to. And I think that really applies to this podcast too, because we've really put our mind and, like, hard work into this to be able to promote ag literacy to you guys, and just saying that I can do this. And if you say that more in your daily lives, that really will push you guys to higher limits and no boundaries. Like, nothing can stop you, and you're very unlimited in whatever dream or goal you want to pursue.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we got to see, all kinds of different acts and talents. We got to listen to a lot of keynote speakers, one of which I kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit. I guess I'll do it now. His name was Brett Culp. He's a documentary producer, screenwriter, whatever you want to call him. And he gave this speech. I don't remember if it was during the second or the third session. You weren't there for it.
It was the second session because I had a proficiency interview, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but first on Brett Culp.
Okay, so Brett Culp was this guy, and he produced documentaries about cancer patients, like children suffering, and it wasn't just cancer, it was other types of illnesses too, but children suffering fatal or very dangerous, harmful illnesses, and how they get through this type of hard time in their life, and they do it by thinking about superheroes like Batman. And he explained that kids often love Batman because he doesn't have superpowers, that he still goes through all these horrible things in his life. I mean, he lost his parents, and he had to go through his entire childhood just being raised by his butler, and it was just a really hard life, and he pulled through, and he did all these amazing things, so they think they can do the same thing. And during this speech that he gave, he was our keynote speaker, he said a few things that really kind of resonated with me about leadership and what it means to be a leader. And one of the things that he said was he redefined leadership. He said that he used to think that leadership was, paving the path for a new, paving the path for people to follow, or to, is just like, being the person that everyone looks up to, and being the person that's in charge all the time, and being the person that is always telling people what to do, or the person that has to lead a room or a team, and that's not always the case. And he said that leadership, according to his definition of leadership is inviting others to do something extraordinary together. And I thought that was pretty impactful, because the way he describes leadership is it's more than just telling others what to do. It's seeing something that needs to change and asking others to help you change it. And he explained this in a few different examples, and the way he explained this, it reminded me a lot of the reason that I wanted to start this podcast, because I saw a need for change. We need more ag literacy in the world. We need more people to understand where their food comes from and why we're doing what we're doing. We need more people understanding what the FFA organization is, and public speaking, and all the different things that we hold dear to our hearts. And he was talking about how people who are truly leaders do whatever they need to do, get whatever help they need to get in order to make this change possible for the better of everyone. And it was it was really cool to listen to him say that kind of thing. And he was talking about, there was kids that in his documentaries that he was talking to, because he started like all these different foundations and all these different projects to help these kids out, and he used his documentaries to help raise awareness for the things he was doing. I thought that was pretty admirable and pretty cool what he's trying to do.
Well, yeah, and that's a very empowering definition of leadership. I mean, I view, especially like our chapter president, Lindsay, she definitely reaches out to all of us and makes sure that everybody's on the same page. We've really developed in our team building our leadership skills in that aspect of being able to come together and cooperate on a project and a task. And I really think that leadership should be redefined into that way, because a leader can't do everything by themselves.
Right,
a leader has to be able to cooperate with other people in order to successfully complete a task, and I think that's extremely important.
Absolutely. Like, a leader is not someone that can, like you said, can't do anything by themselves. They're not a superhero, but they are in a way, because they accept that they can't do everything by themselves, and they look for help in the people that they see the most passion and the most potential in, and they ask them to help them with this project. And I think that, like I said, I think that was something that kind of resonated with me, just because it's what we're kind of doing here. We're paving a path for the future generations, and kind of just, we've said it a billion times, but our goal here is to promote agricultural literacy, and we think that anybody who wants to do that in any way possible, as long as it's positive, they should do it. If someone else wants to take over for this podcast once I get older and I can't do it anymore, or if somebody else wants to make their own podcast, or if they want to do other kinds of projects besides podcasts, or maybe it's not social media at all, maybe it's some kind of activity in their community, as long as it promotes agricultural literacy and it's following the same goal and the same they have the same goal in mind that we had when we started this, that's all I could ever ask for.
I agree, and I think that's really important, especially moving on further into like state conference, when our goal at that conference was to develop leadership skills, and as delegates was to benefit and change California FFA for the better. And I think voting for the new state officers and voting on the 3 amendments that were proposed, I think that was really important for us to take on that leadership position, but we needed everyone, all of the other delegates, as well as those in the chapters, to help us decide what was the best decision in order for everyone to be a leader in developing the association further.
Absolutely. All right, so moving away from the old, the serious stuff.
No, I like the fun stuff. Let's go back to the fun stuff.
The fun stuff. All right, so another kind of unique aspect of this state convention that was something that we never really got to experience before is because this convention was in Anaheim, we got to go to Disneyland for a day.
That was so much fun.
I
Oh my
loved
goodness.
that trip. We only went to California Adventure, and a lot of it was closed because they're restructuring a lot of it right now, unfortunately. But we did get to see a lot of cool stuff. We took pictures with a bunch of characters. I arm wrestled with Donald Duck.
Yeah, that was kind of different.
Well, he challenged my dominance, so I had to arm wrestle him.
Well,
It was,
yeah.
But never let Donald Duck lose, or else he'll cry about it forever. Just letting you know.
Fortunately, yes, that was very dramatic after he lost.
He had to sit there and work out and make me watch him work out, and then we fought again, and I had to let him win. Anyway, so we rode a bunch of rides. We rode the Monsters Inc. ride, and we rode a few other pretty fun rides. We got to take pictures with Captain America, and we got to go eat at this fancy Italian place, and it was really a fun experience. And we got to see Paint the Night, which was...
That was so awesome. Honestly, that was probably like the best part out of all of California Adventure, besides taking pictures with the characters. They had this massive parade, and it was at night. Everything was lit up with neon colors and stuff, like Tinkerbell, Lightning McQueen, Mac from Cars. Most of the Disney princesses were out there.
Yeah,
Minnie,
Woody and Buzz.
Minnie, Mickey, Woody and Buzz, Slinky, everything.
They had everything.
Everything
it
was
so
there.
Cool.
And I swear, Disney honestly probably broke science because they had this like inverted helix kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like this twisting.
Like a
I don't
triple
know what-
helix. It was
crazy.
the craziest thing ever. So I will post a picture on that later because that thing was awesome and you guys have to see it.
Yeah, no, it was really an unbelievable experience. And my phone died while we were doing it, so Abby has all the pictures and videos.
I took a whole bunch of pictures and videos.
And she was so excited, which I was excited too. It was so cool. But the second they started coming out, Abby just like turned
honestly,
into an
like
8-year-old again.
8-year-old me came out and I was so happy. Like that
It was really fun.
I smiled the entire way, like walking back to where we were supposed to meet up with our advisors and back to the hotel. I was just smiling. I couldn't stop.
It was an awesome experience. And we also went over and we rode, Heimlich the Caterpillar ride in Bug's Life, and we relived our childhoods. It was so much fun. That was such a fun experience. I was so much better than the concert at Fresno, in my opinion.
I agree, but I'm not much of a concert person. I don't know if you are.
I'm not a huge concert person. I can be, depends on who
but like
it is.
California Adventure was definitely the happy place for everyone.
That was so much fun. Everyone enjoyed it.
There was something for everyone to do.
Yeah, and kind of a special little thing that Abby and I did was we ran around and we checked all the different stores and we bought pins to put on the insides of each of our jackets. And the cool thing about this pin was it had Mickey Mouse standing behind an American flag, and on it said established 1928. And the special thing about that is that's the same year that both Disney and the FFA were founded. So we thought it'd be kind of cool to have a pin that commemorates both of our experiences there.
Yeah, that was definitely really cool, and I really wanted to find a pin that could symbolize our last state conference, but like attending Disneyland too, because there's not like pins you could just buy at state conference. And so being able to go to California Adventure and get the Mickey pin established in 1928,
it was so cool.
That was the coolest thing. That was the last store we went into right before we could leave. And so that was a really cool experience.
It was a really special state conference for us, just because it was our last one and it was in a new location.
Stop, you're gonna make me cry. Like, this is so bittersweet. Like,
yeah, no, it was such a good trip, and we did learn a lot. We got to do a lot. We got to meet a lot of fun people, and it was definitely a good experience. And while we may have been delegates, our fellow chapter mates were not. They were experiencing a whole different side of it than we were. Which they, we saw the same sessions. We got to do.
But they got to sit in more comfortable chairs.
They got to sit in more comfortable chairs.
Our chairs were very comfortable.
Our chairs were, just little fold-out chairs with Hilaria written on them, and they were very uncomfortable. We had to stand up every 5 minutes because we were getting sore. But it was a really fun experience. We got to get up and jump around and dance, and we're friends with most of the regional officers. So we were hanging out with them, and it was just really, it was a really fun experience. One that I think that was beneficial to pretty much everyone involved.
And we're gonna remember it for a long time too.
I think so too.
Ooh, another special thing about this conference, I got to be up on the stage.
She did. That's one thing we forgot about.
So awesome. Like the stage, when you're looking at it, sitting in the delegate seat is massive. Like this stage is absolutely huge. But when you're standing up on the stage, like it's really tiny. Like I could honestly, I could probably walk like each side. It's a big square, like in probably
a little disappointing.
10 or 12 steps. Yeah, like it was tiny, but it was so cool. Like I got to stand there for my proficiency. So how I talked about in the introduction episode, how I've been working side by side with my dad. Like in my work experience project, we have an ag mechanics business. And through this, I've been able to work there for as long as I can remember. And my freshman year, I officially became an employee. And through that, I have been able to calculate all my work experience hours and different small little projects I've been doing within the shop. And now I've been able to compete with that at the section, region, and even now the state level. And so I got to stand back with all the other proficiency finalists, and there's 48 different areas, which was crazy. There were so many kids back there. And we each got to hold a certificate that said our name, said state finalists for whatever proficiency, and then after that, in our little groups of 3 or 2, however many finalists there were, we got to walk up on the stage, and the state officer was up there, and they said our name and our chapter while we were standing up there and recognizing us for that area, and then they would announce the winner after that. And so when my name got called, Brendan, I don't know if you can see my face or not, but my smile was so big. I was so excited. Like, oh my goodness, Abigail Prince from Tulare FFA. I step forward.
Our whole region was up and
Oh my
jumping
goodness,
and
everybody
cheering
was
and
screaming and yelling, and it was so
exciting.
amazing. Just that experience of being able to like be up on the stage and recognized as a state winner, like that was really cool for me.
We were so excited. Like we went back and like all of our chapter was cheering, and we were all I was recording it, and we were all just like screaming, and it was so cool. Yeah, and
I got a pretty big plaque too, so I mean it came with the hardware. And now I get to apply to go back to national convention,
which is awesome,
and compete at the national level with my proficiency. So I mean, as a female in the ag mechanics industry,
that's pretty exciting.
That doesn't happen. That's really unique, and so hopefully, fingers crossed, we do well and get to be a finalist at the national level.
So make sure you guys wish Abby luck at the national level in October.
I'll know by August though, so
I've gone to
y'all will
national.
know when I'll know.
I've gone to nationals 3 times. I still don't know when it is. Yeah, so make sure you guys wish Abby luck in her national round. Fingers crossed she makes it that far. I'm assuming she will, because
I'm hoping.
So that was another thing I actually forgot to mention. We had a lot of Tulare kids up on the stage this year.
We had so many kids.
Which we like to acknowledge all the different chapters, because we know our listeners aren't just from Tulare. We have a lot of friends from all over California, all over the United States even.
Oh yeah.
But because Tulare is our home, we have to give recognition to our
definitely does.
Our people back home. So we had people for all kinds of different proficiencies. We had all people for all kinds of different scholarships going up there. Not all of them won, unfortunately. We only had a couple winners, but
hey, a couple winners is a couple winners. That is a big deal at the state level.
Yeah, just having that many kids up there, that was insane.
That's huge.
Not to mention we had 2 candidates for state office make it that far. We've never had, in the history of Tulare FFA, as far as I've been informed, we've never had 2 candidates from Tulare make it all the way to the slate.
Slated at the same time.
Which was insane.
That was huge.
We also had 4 members from our region slated at the same time, which was insane.
That was so stressful.
That was so stressful. I mean,
stressful.
Last year when I delegated, we had 1 person from our region, and he happened to be from our chapter, and he was the only one running, which is still exciting to have someone from Tulare get that far, but it was way less overwhelming to say, because this year we had 4. We were just sitting there stressing, hoping that that we could help all 4 of them, and that all 4 would get it. Unfortunately, we didn't have all 4 get it. We had 2. We got 2 from our region,
which is huge.
Which is amazing. I mean, I don't even know if that's ever happened. I'm sure it has, but
yeah, I think so. But that's
insane.
Really big deal.
And we've had, unfortunately, the 2 that were running from our chapter didn't make it, but just to make it that far is such a huge honor.
And a major accomplishment.
Yeah,
too.
and
we are so proud of them. So shout out to you guys. Good job.
I mean, like all of the members from our chapter that even ran in the first place. That takes a lot of courage. It's something that it's something that's really difficult to make it that far. And I think all of them, no matter how far they made it, they need to be recognized. So that's just something that, like I said, not to show any bias towards our chapter, but we're going to be biased towards our chapter because we like to kind of acknowledge how awesome we are.
Well, so it takes a lot of hard work to make it up on the stage, and so those who do really do deserve to be recognized for that.
I think there's something we forgot to mention. State officers, for those of you who don't know, there are different levels of officer positions in the FFA. Abby and I are chapter officers along with Evan. Evan and I are vice presidents of our chapter. Abby here is the secretary for our chapter, and we also have sectional, regional, state, and then national officers. Bree, the one we mentioned earlier, she's our national president right now, and these officers, they all take a role in conducting the organization of whatever they're in charge of. So the state officers, they go all over the state, meeting different chapters, and they're in charge of the state FFA. National's in charge of the national FFA. We're in charge of our chapter's FFA. So each level controls a different level of FFA, and there's president, vice president, secretary, sentinel, treasurer, and reporter, and they all have very special roles. And to be elected as a state officer, that's an extremely high honor to get. And it's extremely difficult one to get as well, especially in our state.
Well, we had 76 people apply for 6 positions, and so that is a feat within itself.
Oh, man. And we had to vote on 6 of 12 of them. Just to narrow it down that much, we went from 76 to 35 to
24 to 16 to 12.
And we had to vote on 6 of them.
6.
And 4 of them are from our region. You know how that was extremely stressful for all of us.
Well, that and being a state officer, you have to take a year off of school.
Yeah, you have to take a year off of school. You have to take a year away from your home, from what you grew up around. It's such a like an out of your comfort zone experience.
But the experience gained from being a state officer is none like you'll ever experience again.
There's nothing to compare it to. It's just, I mean, not to say that we know because we're not state officers, but
no, but seeing
we
people
know
come
state
back
officers that
seeing people come back from being a state officer.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, that's kind of it as far as state convention goes. I'm not sure if there's anything else you wanted to kind of talk about. We had talked about.
Well, if you are an FFA member, and like I said in the first episode, like if you have any interest in agriculture, become a 4-H member if you're that young, or become an FFA member if you have a chapter in your area,
or
go to state conference.
Yeah, or if you're...
honestly, like it's been I went all 4 years. My brother's gonna go all 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan went all 4 years. I'm pretty sure Evan went all 4 years too.
Evan went all 4 years too.
I mean, like we've been to both Fresno and Anaheim, and in 3 years it'll move to Sacramento,
which will be interesting to see.
So the freshmen this year will be able to experience Anaheim, kind of like we did. They will experience Anaheim for 3 years and Sacramento for 1, while we did Fresno for 3 and Anaheim for 1.
Which is crazy to think about how much this organization is changing as we're watching the change too.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. Like
we're in the middle of it.
Yeah, because when we first started FFA,
we're on the tail end, but
right?
We're still in the middle of it.
When we first started FFA, everything we saw was pretty much just how it is. It's concrete, and then this year, so much is changing. I mean, 7th and 8th graders are now allowed into FFA. And we have...
They were so cute. Seeing them around, walking around state conference.
We got to meet a few 7th and 8th graders,
were so cute.
FFA members, and that was really cool to see. And so it was a really exciting experience. So one last thing we kind of got to look at, which was pretty cool. I think Abby got a little bit more excited about it than I did because...
yeah.
One of the... Which this is at every... is that a state conference? I know it's a national conference. I never really look at it at a state conference. I don't think they have one at state conference usually. They did this year. The career fair.
Yeah, they had a career fair.
At every state conference?
Yeah,
I
like
never
the career
go to
show.
it.
The career show.
Oh, okay.
That's what you and I. Oh my goodness. Seriously, Brendan, we were just
to,
there less than a week ago.
No, I mean I know it this year. I mean at the last 3 years at Fresno.
Yes, it's always there.
I never go to it. This is the first year I've gone to it. It's because she made me.
Well, duh. I mean, come on now. Yeah.
It was pretty cool though. I'll admit there's a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of businesses and schools and stuff there.
So yeah, at the career fair, they have ag ambassadors from the schools that sign up to come to the career show. And so they come in, and any FFA member that has questions about the school, just maybe population size, majors, why the ag industry is so important maybe in that state or in that city, because we do have out-of-state colleges come in too. And so they just get to talk to him and see if that's really a place that they want to go to college, because FFA is really focused on career readiness, and college is definitely a big piece in career readiness right now, because without a college degree, you can't get very many jobs.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely been a really important aspect. There's also different companies and businesses that come out seeing kids that are ready to go straight to work that don't necessarily need a college degree, or at least can work and do college at the same time.
Yeah, and kind of one of the cool things, when she was talking about out-of-state colleges, it reminded me of this. One of the whole reasons we went to it in the first place, not the only reason we went to in the first place, but we got to run into an old friend of ours, Julia Pittman, over at Oklahoma State University. If you're listening to this, anything you want to say, Abby?
Yeah, it was really cool to go see Julia, and she is now a sophomore.
Yeah.
Yes, she's a sophomore at Oklahoma State.
And she used to be a chapter president, I believe.
She was chapter president.
When we were freshmen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool.
No, when we were sophomores. Sophomores, because she elected, or she brought Lindsay into the presidential position.
That's right.
So it was cool just to catch up with her and see how college was different from high school, and so that was really an eye-opening experience, because I know I'm ready for college. I'm pretty sure you're ready for college too.
I am. I mean, there's parts of high school I'm gonna miss, mostly FFA stuff, but I'm pretty ready for the new experience. So yeah, it was a cool experience,
especially to see an ag ambassador. So she promotes ag literacy and ag kind of communications, ag events at Oklahoma State, and so I'm sure that they offer that probably at Reedley too, I would think.
Probably.
And I think they offer some sort of thing at Washington as well.
Yeah.
So that was really cool and eye-opening experience to see that.
Yeah. So awkward silence is awkward. So yeah, we got to see the Career Center, we got to see Disneyland, we got to meet some 7th and 8th grade members, which was awesome. We got to go to all the sessions and vote, and we had all kinds of crazy stuff happen in 4 days.
We had no sleep.
No sleep.
Well, maybe
couple hours.
4 to 6 hours. That was kind of the average.
I was sleeping on a couch. That was comfortable. And but it was amazing experience. If, like Abby said, if any of you guys are interested in getting more involved in FFA, my involvement in this organization really didn't start until my first state convention, state conference.
Dude, come talk to us. Like,
yeah.
Ask us questions. Like, any questions about state conference or anything in the FFA.
Absolutely.
Any three of us would be more than happy to answer your questions.
Yeah, and if you guys want to know my story of how I got an FFA with the state conference, because I'm going to talk your off about it anyway, I'd recommend doing it outside the episode, because I'm going to waste a lot of our time doing it. But, yeah, it's such a unique experience that a lot of kids in high school really don't get to see. And I think that people don't really appreciate it as much as they do until they actually get to see it.
It's very special.
Because, like, you talk about state conference all the time, but until the kid goes...
And it's different every year. It's not like it's the same thing. And so it's really special going there each year and having it be different. Yeah,
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I asked him why he didn't go to state conference this year. He's a sophomore. He said, well, I went last year. I was like, so?
So what? Yeah.
It's in a new place this year. There's new state officers this year. There's all kinds of new stuff going on this year. Why don't you go check it out this year? And it's just like, because people don't understand, every year is a different experience, and it's something that I recommend you guys trying. If you're FFA members, if you're parents and you have FFA members as kids, if you're an ag teacher, push your kids to do FFA and to go to state conference.
Be active.
Yes.
Be active. It does not hurt you. If anything, it will benefit you, because, I mean, comparing ourselves to our peers, we are so prepared for college and for anything post-college,
Absolutely.
too. So yeah, that's pretty much an overview of what happened at state conference. I mean, we're already at 31 minutes, so...
Yeah, no, I think it's time to
a lot goes on there, so...
Yeah.
Any questions, we're more than happy to answer.
Yeah, and next week... Well, I don't know what the episode is going to be about yet, but we're going to be getting back...
It's a surprise. You guys don't get to know yet.
We're going to be getting about... Oh, yeah, we totally know what it is, right? We're not...
Shh, yes, we know. We know what it is. Y'all don't know what it is,
You don't know that we know what it is, but we know what it is.
That didn't make any sense.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna wrap this episode up here, guys. The next episode we'll be getting back to more the ag issue related, not ag issues, but like the ag topic related episodes, or maybe it'll be an interview, maybe it'll be an ag literacy. We don't know yet, or you guys don't know yet. So we're gonna find out.
But this was just fun, just to let you guys know what our experience was at state conference.
Yeah, we just got back, so we kind of wanted to let you guys know what we thought of it and what was kind of our thoughts. So
yeah, I think that's it for today.
I think so too. Oh, we do have a surprise for you guys coming out. I'm not sure when it'll be out yet, so make sure you keep checking the YouTube channel. It's not going to be posted on a Wednesday like a regular episode. It's a little bit different, and it's relating to this episode.
What?
So just keep your eyes
okay.
keep your eyes out for that. And
I don't even know what this is about, so...
Yes, you do. I'll explain afterwards.
Okay.
So keep your eyes open for that, and yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right, bye guys.
And don't forget, if you ate today, thank a farmer.